Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fortress of Solitude. Today we're going to be checking out Dark Droids issue 5 by Charles Soule and Luke Ross. The Scourge's final stand begins as the beings decide to lash out, causing many of its parts to kill organics across the galaxy. I really love Soule's writing of this sequence. The Scourge is now painted as a cornered animal who is attacking in fear, trying everything in its power to buy itself some time to finish its experiments. The internal struggle the being has been facing is really interesting as well, since the younger Scourge Prime doesn't want to do what the elders want. It wants to do something different, but because it's a droid, it doesn't really have the agency to defy its programming and do something new, so it knows it has to do this. It's a complete dichotomy with Ajax and R2, who do what they want to do. They have that agency, and R2, as we saw in D-Squad, comes to Ajax with that agency, and Ajax, upon seeing it, is given the spark to fight back against the Scourge again. D-Squad do team with Ajax and assault Scourge 1, and we see sequences from all of the tie-ins with the characters, battling the Scourge in their various ways, as the Scourge finally manages to take over an organic body, quickly spreading out to the rebel heroes on Epiconia. But before it can become the self-proclaimed new force that it wants to be, it is killed by Ajax. From here, the book kind of just moves at light speed to finish everything up, and everything goes back to normal for the heroes and they go off into their own books again and whatnot, and Ajax is left in his colony all alone as the only droid there, thanks to him getting the others killed in a previous issue of Dark Droids. But it's also revealed that he may have actually kept either part of the Scourge or part of the Spark Eternal and plans on putting it in a new droid body and trying to, help it grow his church, effectively becoming, a new villain for some time later down the line or something. Not really sure where Soule is going with that. It's a neat little idea to have Ajax capture the Scourge and try and help it be a better droid, but it's never once hinted at in this issue or beyond this issue that that's what its plan was. He just turns up with a sword that, from the art, looks like it captures the Scourge's essence or code in the blade, and he then puts that into one of the new droids he makes in the final page. But I'm getting the feeling that maybe there were some concepts of the series that were cut to make room for time or something. Again, it felt very last minute, and it's something that all of the tie-in books have done as well, where they introduce something in their final tie-in issue that's really interesting, but we never get to see any more of it because it's the final issue. Speaking of things that never really came back or had anything else to do in the book, where the hell is C-3PO? He was one of the first to be infected and looked to be having an important role in this book. He's even on the cover of this issue and has been on the cover of several of the mainline Dark Droids issues, and was even sent to go and deal with Darth Vader, something as well, which never really went anywhere, and he just up and disappeared from this book. We don't even get to see a resolution of him returning to the rebellion or anything. He's just non-existent, and it's so strange, being that he was one of the first, and it looked like they were setting him up to be sort of the main mouthpiece of the Scourge, and then they went a completely different way with the Scourge Prime and that really neat design, that really neat repurposed General Grievous design they used for him, which was really quite cool. But it's really strange use of C-3PO in this series, really strange. For a final time, Luke Ross provides some lovely artwork for the series, making things a little bit more creepy than the previous issues, especially once everyone gets infected, and utilizes shadows and the colors like purple and dark blues really greatly. I also really love the panel where the Scourge first reveals that it's infected a human. It's just a single page with this guy looked ripped straight from the 1970s with his big mustache and purple eyes, but the way it's drawn, it just looks so terrifying. There's just something so alien about it and so, lifeless about it. It's just such a cool image. Charles Soule finally brought his Dark Droids event to a close, but for an ending, it felt incredibly rushed and filled with more half-baked ideas, much like many of the tie-ins. The core idea of a droid being a main villain in a Star Wars book is really, really cool, and there were some really solid early moments there with the Scourge and how they are set up as a villain, even though they're not really a villain, they're just doing their programming. It's all really neat stuff, but once other plots started getting bolted onto it and the tie-ins started sort of trying trying to get a little bit more involved but never really could, it started to sort of fall apart. I'm looking forward to the Star Wars books to return to a more structured, smaller story arcs for a while now, until the next big event, whenever that is, and what type of fallout this event will have, especially for characters like Lando and Darth Vader. Those are the two characters I'm really interested to see moving forward. I am going to give this issue a 6 out of 10.